Good afternoon, almost night. I don't even know what time it is right now. It's 7:53, so I'm gonna see how much I can get through. I would like to finish though, so this isn't gonna be too incredibly long, but it is gonna be jam-packed full of information for everything. So you probably clicked on this video because you thought that I was gonna give you a set breed that you should have. There's no set breed. You can have whatever chicken you want, but some of them are going to be better suited for your environment. Like if you live, I'm in the US, so if you live in Arizona, you might need a Buff Orpington. Buff Orpingtons are good with heat. They can withstand quite a lot. If you're in Alaska, though, you might need a dark Brahma or something that has feathered feet for a little extra warmth. They really don't need the warmth. The cold they can handle. It's the heat that really can hurt them. So let's get started. I'm going to talk about the breeds that I have and egg color, their temperament, at least their temperament of the ones that I have. There are exceptions to all temperaments. It is based on how you raise them, what their genetics are behind them, and just different things like that. How you raise the bird and a whole bunch of other things. I prefer to be a little bit more hands-on. If you're more hands-on with the first 2 months, they are a lot friendlier, and you can normally pick them up, and like the people that you see on Instagram and all that, people going up holding their chickens and all that. But any bird can do that. It's just how you raise it. So based off my list, it's not accurate for everyone, because there is no accurate list, because every bird is different and you have exceptions all the time. But let me get right into this. I have a list. I had to be somewhat organized for this. The first breed that I'm going to talk about is the Sapphire Splash. I only have one, and I'm not even sure if that's what she really is. She was with my original group, and she lays light brown eggs, almost sort of a cream. Yeah, like a cream color, and she lays almost every single day. She's amazing. I'm just gonna go, before I go any further, I'm gonna do breed, egg color, temperament, and whether or not they're cold hardy or heat hardy, which all of them are both, except for a couple being used to be, or they're able to be put in colder climates more easily because of their size and just everything like that. So she lays light brown, cream colored eggs almost every single day. I don't think she didn't miss a single day in her first year at all. She laid every single day consecutively. Her temperament is, she's kind of skittish. She doesn't like being held, which a lot of birds don't anyway, so I don't hold that against her. But she doesn't particularly like being held, which is fine. And she can get a little loud, but it's, again, that's probably just my bird. She likes to be the first one, or not the first one. She likes being in the nesting box and there already being an egg in the nesting box. But she would like to be first, and that's not okay. Well, it is okay, but she can get a little loud in the mornings, which isn't a problem. It's just more of what you want. Sometimes some birds lay in the morning and all that, bright and early, or some wait until a little bit later. But she likes to lay when there's already an egg. She's weird, but that's fine. She is heat and cold hardy. She's been here through three summers and 2 winters, and she's done fine. I think she had a little bit of frostbite, or her comb was starting to turn like right before frostbite really set in, and then it got warmer, so that's all fine. She didn't have to lose anything or anything like that. On to Barred Rocks. Mine, okay, they lay brown eggs. Mine has actually laid a few that have speckles on it, and they are quite large. Same thing with my Sapphire Splash. They are quite large, which is good. Mine is really loud. Before she gets in the nesting box, she's loud. Right when she gets up in the nesting box, she's loud. She's loud anytime around when she's gonna lay an egg. After that, she's as quiet as can be. Mine is actually the most dominant hen in, like, out of all my females. She is the most dominant, and she lets you know it. Which is good. I like that she is, but it isn't something that I particularly like, her being aggressive to the other ones, but it's just her filling a role that a rooster would fill, which is okay. She's heat and cold hardy. I've seen that people prefer them when they, like people in Pennsylvania or higher up in Pennsylvania, because they have the winters that are a little bit colder, a little bit longer. And she laid every day in the winter. I actually have, and what's going to determine it is lighting and all that, and we don't provide any extra lighting. I don't do any extra eggshells in the winter because I want them to lay when they are ready to. I don't want to force anything. She is, well, on top of all that, my coop is also set up in an area right underneath the tree, and they have a run that is in the sun most of the time. It's been shut down this entire year because of a hawk attack, and then we're trying to redo it, and it just got too hot to do anything. But that's going to be finished before winter because I have a feeling it's going to be a bad winter. More on that later, though, in a garden video. But my coop is underneath a tree, so in the summer it's shaded. Almost the entire thing is shaded until the afternoon, so they don't get a lot of sun until the afternoon, which isn't a bad thing. It's hot, so I let them have that extra shade, and I'd rather not get as many eggs in the winter or in the summer and get more in the winter. In the summer or in the winter, when all the leaves are off the tree, almost all of them lay every single day. We get more eggs in the winter than I do in the summer. And I think that's just a variety of things. Or maybe it's not anymore and they're just laying differently. I'm not sure. But from what I've seen and how my coops are set up, they lay more in the winter because they get more light. And I'm hoping to kind of switch that because most people don't lay in the winter that often. I like that mine do, but I'm going to try to switch it to where it's a little bit more even, and it is pretty even right now. It's just off by like 4 or 5 eggs. It's not very drastic. But most of mine also did start laying in the winter, so that could be why they're laying more then. On to the next one, white leghorn. They lay white eggs, obviously. Mine are kind of flighty. Anything loud that they're not used to will startle them more than it will startle the other birds. So that's one thing. I love my white leghorns. I love having the white eggs. And I actually I have 2 right now. I had 3. And she was raised with a later group. She was so much better than the other ones. She liked being held and all that. So again, temperament-wise, everything's different. But they are kind of flighty. I think that is also because of how I raised them. I wasn't really hands-on because I didn't know that would make a difference in my beginning. And I know now, and now I raise all my chicks hands-on where they at least know me or they associate me with treats, so then they're okay with me. They're heat and cold hardy. Mine tend to struggle more. Well, they don't really struggle, that's the thing. It's more of just the heat. The heat gets any bird because it's not what they're used to. So, or it just takes a lot out of them. So I think all of theirs is normal. I mean, they handle through the winter. All of mine handle through the winter. The heat is just bad. On to Rhode Island Red. They lay a brown egg. I'm not talking about egg size, if you have any questions on that. I'm not talking about egg size because mine are inconsistent with size. The only ones that are pretty consistent are my... We got a plane. The only ones that are consistent are probably my white leghorns. Crazy. But the Rhode Island Red lays a brown egg. Mine are pretty docile. Again, how I raised them, they don't particularly like to be handled, and a lot of birds don't, which is completely fine. But they don't want to have that contact that some other ones like, which is fine. I don't mind. But other than that, they're pretty docile. They'd be good for children and all of that. So it's definitely a breed I would do, along with the Barred Rock. I mean, Barred Rocks are pretty easygoing, except for the Loud, which mine might just be her. But they are, I mean, all breeds are good for kids, in my opinion, except for some of maybe like the more aggressive ones. If you're keeping a rooster, and this is like my exception for raising them hands-on in like the first 2 months, I raise my roosters hands-on like their entire life, is hands-on. They're used to me touching them, messing with them. Do I make louder noises when I'm around them? Not on purpose, but I'll find myself being a little bit louder so they're not as jumpy or as scared and as prone, like, not prone to attack, but so they're not as, like, on guard all the time. And they know that I wouldn't hurt them, so they were completely fine. I had 5 that turned out amazing. Now, they were a little skittish, but I think that's also because of how I raised them. My next one is the Delaware. The Delaware she was one of my favorites. She passed away from a hawk attack in this February, March, somewhere in there. I can't remember the exact date. She laid dark, like not super dark, like brand dark, but pretty dark brown speckled eggs, and I loved her. I wanted to cross her with my black copper Moran rooster. She died before I got the chance to, though, which sucks. That's annoying. She died before I got the chance, but again, it was just her time to go, I guess. She was really docile for her. She was really docile. She took on the role as being a rooster before I had a rooster in with them. And I had one of my white leghorns go broody, and she would stand above them, and she crowed a couple times. But it was definitely a she. I mean, she laid every day, which was amazing. Next one are Easter eggers. I forgot to talk about the heat hardy. She was heat and cold hardy. Most of these are going to be, except for if I make a special exception. So just know that all of these that I'm going to talk about, except for, well, if I say that it is, if I go off on a little thing and say that it is not particularly one or the other, then it's heat and cold hardy, but I'll still say it. My next one is Easter eggers, Americanas, whatever you're going to call them. There's a huge debate on that. I'm not going to get into it. I call all of mine Easter eggers because it's fun, and I don't think neither one of them, I don't know. I'm not going to get involved. I like Easter eggers. It sounds fun. It's easier to say, too. Not for me, but like for anyone, it's just easier to say. And you associate that with colored eggs, Easter, and all that. Easter eggers lay green, blue, and I've heard of them laying pink eggs. Not like a super pink egg like you buy for Easter or something, but it's a pink egg. You can tell that it's not brown. So green, blue, most of mine lay green, and I think that's what most of them lay. But if you have some good lines, then you can get blue, or if you cross them right, you can get blue and stuff like that. I don't know the genetics behind the blue and green, though, so don't ask me. I put pretty docile, except for, again, it's how you raise them. I have a few that really like being handled, that prefer to be right next to somebody, And that's fine. I'm not gonna get upset over it. I mean, there's a couple that just don't like people, and they're just like people in that regard. There's people that like other people, and there's some people that don't like other people, or some people who don't like anything. So that's okay. But they're pretty docile. They might be a little bit skittish, again, but it's all in how you raise them and stuff like that. And there's such huge varieties in Easter eggers. I just love it. They're heat and cold hardy. Again, struggling with the heat. All of them do. Black Australorps. They lay brown eggs. Mine is really docile. Like super docile. I love it. Yeah. Again, how you raise them, but they're more docile by nature, from what I've heard. And I only have one. I would like to get more because I didn't know how it was. I have a cross with an Easter egger in my grow out pen right now. But these are beautiful. Black Australorps are just amazing. Brown eggs, docile, amazing with kids. Same thing with Easter eggers, though. Really, any breed's good with kids, except for if it's one that is known to be a little bit more aggressive. And I think Rhode Island Reds, roosters at least. Most hens are okay in that regard, except for how you raise them, of course. Heat and cold hardy. More with the cold, obviously, but mine actually does really well in the heat. So I would put them as both. Again, they can handle temperatures pretty high, but it's not okay when it gets above like 90. But they can handle temperatures down into the teens. Not just Australorps, all birds can handle temperatures down into teens, which is good. Because of the heat exchange system in their body. So they can stand in freezing water and not have their legs freeze, because it's constantly pumping blood from their heart into their legs, and it's traveling back up, so it's always a constant supply of being warm. Cream Legbars lay blue eggs. The one that I have actually does not lay a blue egg, and the reason for that is it's because of how different hatcheries and different people have different things of what they consider cream Legbar. They're all still cream Legbars, but some of them don't lay that blue egg. The ones that you see that have that blue egg are from people who have worked on the breed and improved so many things about it. But no, most of the time, if you go and get one from a hatchery, they're not going to lay a really blue egg like you've seen. If you select breed and things like that, or you buy from someone who's done it for a long time, I mean, you're not guaranteed even then, but the odds are so much better to have a beautiful blue egg in your basket. Mine lays like a really dull blue, but I can tell it's... sometimes I can't. Most of the time, sometimes I can tell it's hers, but most of the time I can't. My cream Legbar is flighty. She does not like people near her at all. And that's just her nature. But most of them are fine, but I think the breed is kind of a little bit more flighty anyways. Heat and cold hardy, again, all of these are. Black Copper Marans, dark brown eggs. I actually do not have one that I don't have a pure Black Copper Marans right now. I do not have one that... I have not had one that lays a dark egg. I had a rooster and I had a hen before. She died when she was like 2 months old, so she never got to lay, which was sad, but I really would have liked it. But I have a Black Copper Maran cross from my rooster, and I have no clue who the hen is. But she takes more after... Sorry. She takes more after her dad in that regard, like in coloring and feathered feet and all that, so I hope she lays a dark brown egg. And then I have some Mystic Marans that are not very old. They're probably 5 weeks old. Maybe, yeah. Maybe like around 5 weeks old. So they haven't laid yet either. But they're crossed with, they're Black Copper Morans crossed with Barred Rocks. And I got those from Tractor Supply as well. Oh, I thought it cut off. Black Copper Morans, dark brown egg, like I said, docile, very docile. They are, my rooster was amazing. And even the hens are amazing. Heat and cold hardy. There are, my rooster did get some frostbite and some of his comb did come off, and just fell off when the weather got warm, which wasn't a problem. Frostbite usually isn't, but it's when, so a single comb is like this and they have the point sticking up. Rose comb is kind of just flat, and those are harder to get frostbite because you don't have everything sticking up like a single comb. So in a single comb, and what I found with my other roosters, the tips actually froze off. So then it was still like that, but it didn't have the ridges up top. My Black Copper Morans actually didn't particularly happen to his, only like the very tips did come off. Sapphire Gem, I'm going to speed through these next couple because I think we're losing light. Sapphire Gems lay brown eggs. They're really docile. I have 2. They're amazing. They escape a lot, but that's probably also just mine. They're heat and cold hardy. Same thing with most of these. I mean, all of them are really heat and cold hardy, but the heat does zap them. I know I've said this a couple times. I know I've said it a couple times, but repetition is key. So then maybe you can go on and make your own YouTube video about it. Tag me in it. I'll watch it. I'm on YouTube too much. Buff Orpington, brown eggs. Mine is kind of skittish. She doesn't particularly like me, but most of the time they are docile. She is pretty docile. Like, if I get her alone, then she's docile. Heat and cold hardy. Again, the heat with those, I've seen people raise them in Arizona where it's hot, and they do just fine. Also, same with Australorps. I think they can handle the heat a little bit better than some breeds. Yeah, Lavender Orpington, brown. They lay brown eggs. Mine are super docile. Like, they act like dogs. Heat and cold hardy. The heat on mine has been harder, of course, but they are still amazing. I mean, they still are amazing when it comes to all of that. So, I'd say a little bit more cold on that side, but they do still fare pretty well. Gold-laced Wyandottes, mine, well, not mine, all of them lay brown egg. Gold-laced Wyandottes lay brown eggs. They're docile. Mine are kind of skittish, but still docile. It's getting darker, y'all. Gold-laced Wyandottes, brown, docile. Heat and cold hardy. They have rose combs, so they don't lose anything during the winter, and rose combs rose combs in general seem to fare better in the cold than single combs, and single combs do better in the heat, and rose combs do better in the winter. Don't fact check me on that, but it is true. Just because frostbite's a little bit easier and all that other stuff. Docile, heat and cold for Wyandottes. Dark Brahma. They lay brown eggs. Mine are really docile. Heat and cold, but definitely more cold for Dark Brahmas. They have feathered feet. Birds that have feathered feet are more prone to getting hot because, I mean, they have extra covering all over their feet. So, be aware with that. Black Star, I had one Black Star. She was really nice. I've heard things about them not being as nice. Or they're docile in general. They're docile in general, though. So, Black Stars, they're pretty docile. Mine aren't good. I think all of them are docile by nature, but mine, I didn't really raise her hands-on because it was with my first group, but she was still amazing. So, and she wanted to be picked up. And she laid brown eggs and heat and cold. Brown eggs and heat and cold hardy. Some key points that I want to hit on really quick. Again, I've talked about it the entire time. All birds with temperament are exceptions. You can have some that are really good, some that are skittish, flighty, all of that. The heat is more extreme on all birds. It doesn't matter. Poultry in general. It's hard. Anything with a rose comb is heat and cold hardy, but more, they can withstand the cold a little bit better. Any bigger birds too can also withstand the cold. Single comb are heat and cold hardy, but frostbite's more of an issue with them. Feathered feet, heat and cold, but heat with feathers or any extra feathers, period, does take a lot out of them. So be mindful of that. But that is my list of breeds. Again, I have all of these breeds, and I'm not going to speak on anything that I don't have. But thank you for watching. Comment your favorite breed and why. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.